Shadows of Green, a tale of shattered dreams and unbreakable spirit. Fade in, soft, haunting acoustic guitar strums over grainy footage of misty Canadian Rockies giving way to bustling American border towns. A woman's voice, warm yet edged with tremor, narrates. In the quiet town of Evergreen, straddling the US-Canada border like an old friend with a secret, Sarah Thompson had built her world from the ground up. At 42, with calloused hands from years tending soil and sun-kissed cheeks from endless harvests, Sarah wasn't just a farmer, she was a healer. Her small cannabis dispensary, Green Haven, wasn't about the buzz or the bucks. It was born from desperation. 10 years ago, her daughter, Lily, then just 5, had been diagnosed with severe epilepsy. Conventional meds failed, leaving Lily in a haze of seizures that stole her laughter, her spark. But cannabis? It was a miracle in a leaf. Edibles, tinctures, Sarah's careful blends turned the tide, giving Lily her childhood back. Sarah's husband, Mike, a burly mechanic with grease under his nails and a heart as steady as his torque wrench, had been her rock. They'd poured their savings into Green Haven, starting in British Columbia before crossing the border 2 years ago, chasing the American dream. "This is our shot," Mike would say, kissing her forehead in their cramped kitchen, the scent of chamomile tea mingling with the faint earthy whiff from the drying room. Their son, 12-year-old Jax, idolized them both, dreaming of becoming a botanist, sketching hybrid strains in his notebook like a kid doodling superheroes. Life wasn't perfect. The border patrols eyed their shipments like hawks, and whispers of tighter regs from Washington kept Sarah up at night. But they had community, neighbors who swapped recipes for infused bombs, customers whose chronic pain eased with a single puff. And then, there was the economy humming along, tourists flocking south, jobs sprouting like weeds. Evergreen thrived on that green gold. But dreams, like plants, are fragile. It was a crisp October morning in 2025 when the hammer fell. President Trump's voice boomed from every screen, his trademark scowl etched deeper than ever. "America first means American soil, American rules," he declared in a primetime address, flanked by stern-faced advisors. "No more foreign invaders peddling their poisons on our streets." Effective immediately, all Canadian cannabis operations in the U.S. are shut down. Borders sealed, licenses revoked. "We're taking back our economy." The room spun for Sarah. She was in the shop, restocking shelves with fresh buds, when the news alert pinged her phone. Her hands froze mid-lift, a jar of lavender-infused oil slipping to shatter on the hardwood floor. Oil bloomed like blood across the planks, her blood, her sweat. Calls flooded in, suppliers panicking, customers begging for last shipments. By noon, federal agents were at the door, badges gleaming like guillotines. "Pack it up, ma'am." Everything. They didn't yell, didn't need to. The finality was a whisper that echoed like thunder. Across the border, in Ottawa, Mark Carney, the silver-haired titan of finance, now a vocal advocate for cross-border trade, watched the broadcast with veins bulging at his temples. As Canada's economic envoy, he'd championed the cannabis boom as a bridge between nations, a $10 billion lifeline. "This is economic sabotage," he thundered in an emergency presser, his posh accent cracking with fury. "Overnight collapse, jobs vaporized, markets in freefall. Trump's playing chicken with livelihoods. Stocks plummeted, the loonie tanked 15% in hours. Headlines screamed, economy in ashes, Trump's weed war ignites global panic." But for Sarah, the collapse wasn't charts or currencies. It was personal apocalypse. That night, as Evergreen's neon "open" signs flickered out one by one, dozens of shops like hers padlocked by dusk, she drove home in silence, the truck's headlights cutting through fog like accusations. Mike waited on the porch, Lily curled in his lap, her small frame twitching faintly from a missed dose. "We can't get her meds," Sarah choked out, collapsing into his arms. Tears soaked his flannel. Jax hovered in the doorway, eyes wide as saucers. "Mom. Is the bad dream real?" The challenges hit like a blizzard. First, the financial gut punch. Greenhaven's U.S. arm owed $200,000 in loans, now due with no revenue. Banks called, voices oily with regret, collateral seized, Mrs. Thompson. Sarah pawned her wedding ring, then Mike's tools, his wrench set, a 30th birthday gift from his dad. Pride? Shattered. Then Lily's health, seizures ramped up without the steady supply. Hospital bills piled like autumn leaves, doctors shrugging, we don't have your custom blend. Sarah scavenged black market scraps, but it was Russian roulette, wrong potency, wrong strain. One night, Lily convulsed for 20 minutes, Sarah holding her tiny body, whispering prayers to a god she'd long questioned. Don't take her spark. Please. The town unraveled too. Evergreen's diner shuttered, the mechanic shop where Mike worked laid off half its crew. Riots flickered at the border, protesters chanting, legalize the leaf, clashing with feds in riot gear. Carney's fury fueled op-eds, but D.C. stonewalled, national security, they claimed, as if pot plants plotted coups. Sarah felt the weight of it all, guilt for dragging Mike into this, fear for Jax's future, rage at a policy that painted her life's work as a crime. We're not invaders, she'd sobbed to Mike in bed, the house creaking like it mourned with them. We're just trying to survive. Weeks blurred into a gray haze. Sarah walked the empty shop at midnight, sweeping glass shards that never quite cleared. Jax, sensing the fracture, buried himself in books on guerrilla gardening, whispering plans to grow in secret. Mike took odd jobs, hauling scrap, his back screaming, but the fire in his eyes dimmed. One evening, as snow dusted the windows, Lily seized again. This time, it broke something in Sarah. She stormed out into the storm, pounding on neighbors' doors. We need to fight, not with fists, but with roots. That's when the pivot sparked. Relatable? Hell yes, because who hasn't stared down a wall and found a way to climb? Sarah rallied the town, a underground co-op, hidden grows in abandoned barns, community-funded R&D for synthetic alternatives. Mike engineered solar-powered greenhouses, his mechanic's ingenuity turning rust into resilience. Jax's sketches became blueprints. Lily, in her lucid moments, named the new strains, Hope's Fire, Border Bloom. Carney, catching wind via a viral petition, looped in Canadian labs, smuggling formulas, not product, under the radar. Challenges didn't vanish. Raids nipped at their heels, a close call saw federal drones buzzing their roof, hearts in throats. Sarah faced arrest, staring down a judge with Lily's photo clutched like a shield. This isn't about weed, Your Honor. It's about a mother's promise. The case dragged, but public outcry, fueled by Carney's megaphone and X-threads from border families, swayed the tide. A temporary injunction, proceed with caution. Months later, as spring thawed the frost, Greenhaven reborn as Unity Roots. No borders now, just a hybrid haven, shipping US-grown meds north and Canadian tech south. The economy? It didn't collapse forever. Local jobs bloomed in hydroponics, tourists returned for rebel tours. Sarah stood in her new field, Lily giggling as she scattered seeds, Mike's arm around her waist, Jax filming it all for his YouTube channel, We'd Warriors Unite. Music swells, uplifting folk rock, banjo picking up the pace. Cut to close-ups, smiles cracking through tears, hands clasped in the dirt. And here's the truth they learned, the one that hits you square in the chest, adversity isn't a shutdown, it's a seed in the dark. It forces you to dig deeper, reach wider, remind you that what you build with love, governments can't uproot. Trump's decree. It scarred, but it couldn't kill the green in their souls. Carney's rage. It echoed their own, turning fury to fuel. In a world of overnight collapses, choose the slow burn of unbreakable spirit. Fight not for the high, but for the healing. For the family that stares down the storm and says, not today. Screen fades to black. Text overlays, if this story moved you, the heartbreak, the hustle, the hope, hit that like button. It tells us to keep telling tales that matter. And subscribe for more real talk stories on resilience, borders, and beating the odds. Drop a comment. What's your unbreakable moment? Unity roots forever. Hashtag Green Revolution. End credits roll over triumphant chords. Runtime, 10 minutes when narrated at 150 WPM.